just want to make a little disclaimer so that way I don't get copyrighted. I do not own Sheriff Kelly's Wild West, nor do I own any of the characters in the show, nor do I own Disney as well. Everything, anything involving the show, like the show itself, the characters, etc., all of that belongs to Disney and their companies. Okay, bye. On to the video. Hello everybody, so today we are going to be doing a rant video. I am specifically going to be doing a rant video on a character that I really don't like, that is from a show that I really love. And that character is Deputy Peck, from the show Sheriff Kelly's Wild West. Now, Sheriff Kelly's Wild West is an amazing show. I've been watching the show since I was about, 13. And all throughout the years that I've been watching this show, there's been one character that I've absolutely downright hated. Well, not exactly hated, just more of like a heavy dislike, but this character that I've heavily disliked is Deputy Peck. And it's for a lot of reasons, and in this episode, I will be going over these reasons. And, yeah, I will essentially be going over episodes that show why I do not like this character, as I go over my reasons. And the first reason is that I believe that Deputy Peck is very, very bossy, even to the point of being unjust and making unjustly and possibly even dangerous decisions that could harm people if gone the wrong way. And my reasons for this come from primarily the episode called Jail Crazy. It is episode 6 of season 1. And let me tell you, when I say that this episode is genuinely insane, I do mean that. I seriously did not think that I could ever dislike a character this much in one episode, this early into a show. But It's happened. It's happened. It's been made possible through Deputy Peck. Also, I would just like to add, while I'm making this, that I am writing the script as I am, making the video. So, yeah. Bear with me here, guys. Just bear with me here. Anyways. Okay, so, first off, we're gonna be going over Jail Crazy, as I said earlier. And Jail Crazy, the episode starts off with Sheriff Callie, Deputy Peck, and Toby going into Ella's milk saloon for some milk. Ella slides the glasses of milk to Peck and Toby with success. But when Ella slides a glass to Callie, it somehow bounces off of the cactus juice holder thingy and gets all over her. While Callie just laughs this off, Peck proceeds to make a comment about how he feels like that she's too darn soft on folks sometimes. He then brings out the rule book for the town and cites a rule about cleaning. He then says that if he was in charge, he'd make sure that more people would have respect for the rules. Also, something I'd like to point out is how people in this town react to this rule book. They look at it as if they've never seen it before. This, by the way, eventually led me to a headcanon that perhaps Peck made the book itself, but that's for another day. Maybe. So after Callie tells him that it was just an accident and that it's nothing to worry about, Cody, the mail guy, comes in saying that he has the hop and hiccups and that he can't deliver the mail. Callie says that she and Sparky will do it and takes the bag. Peck tries to come with her, but Callie says that someone needs to guard town while she's gone, so she assigns him to be the substitute sheriff while she's away. This turns out to be a big mistake as he immediately goes into some song and dance about how they're gonna do things, quote, by the book. After this, he gets on to Uncle Bun for not opening the door for Priscilla Skunk. He then cites a rule about opening doors for people and scares Uncle Bun into his shop. After that, he gets onto his best friend Toby for spilling popcorn on the ground that he didn't even realize that he was spilling. And then, after that, he gets onto and then later arrests Dirty Dan and Dusty for slurping and burping. Later in jail, Toby tries to point out that there isn't a rule against, slurping and burping. To which Peck says, well, there ought to be. let me recap that last bit with Dirty Dan and Dusty for you. Peck arrested Dirty Dan and Dusty for not only a stupid reason, but for a rule that they did not break. A rule that they didn't even break because it doesn't exist. After this, we get a scene where Peck is outside and Farmer Stinky asks where Dirty Dan and Dusty is. This is when Peck proceeds to proudly announce that he had arrested Dirty Dan and Dusty for slurping and burping. Immediately, everybody comes out of their houses, shops, whatever, wondering, who's in jail, what happened. Ella asks if Peck has Callie has arrested an outlaw, and Peck says that no. Peck proceeds to proudly announce that he has arrested Dirty Dan and Dusty for slurping and burping. Naturally, people don't take too kindly to this and, begin talking amongst themselves, because, this is low-key kind of crazy. And then Peck proceeds to get onto them for using their inside voices. When Ella points out that they're outside, Peck says something or another along the lines of not talking back or something similar to that, and then says, "Forward, march," and puts them in jail. After all of that, we get a scene with Sheriff Callie where she's chasing after a bandit, aka Billy Goat the Kid, who had escaped jail just earlier. And he is trying to hide from her. He tries to hide behind this massive tumbleweed, but obviously she finds him. But anyways, back in town, everyone is in jail. They're complaining, asking questions, like anybody would. And when Toby tries to point out to Peck that, hey, this doesn't seem like a very, justly thing to do, I don't think this is right, Peck proceeds to put Toby in jail. Drops his full name and everything. So by this point, Billy Goat the Kid has came to Nice and Friendly Corners, and when he realizes that literally nobody is around, I'm not kidding, he calls it a ghost town, he proceeds to go ahead and rob everything. He gets this big old sack of stuff, including Peck's golden horseshoe trophy, which seems to be the only thing he's concerned about, to be completely honest. And Peck, as he's, once he gets the bag, he tries to, run away, but Billy Goat the Kid is catching up to him. He calls for everybody, Uncle Bun, Ella, everybody in town, but he somehow has completely forgotten that he has put everybody in jail, so nobody can help him. Thankfully, though, Callie comes along eventually, and, puts Billy Goat the Kid in jail, and, everyone else, the innocent folk, the innocent town folk, are freed. Everybody says that they forgive Peck at the end of this episode, but I honestly do not believe that for a second. Because listen, if I was in that position, the way I would have slapped Peck. The way I would have slapped that bird. Finally, that's over. That took forever to edit. You guys have seriously no idea. So anyways, reason 2 I really don't like Deputy Peck is because he doesn't really know how to communicate. We see this predominantly in 2 episodes, and I will be going over both. But for right now, I'm going to be going over episode 18 of season 1, Parroting Pedro. So, in Parroting Pedro, this parrot, named Pedro, comes to Nice and Friendly Corners looking to make some new friends. And when he gets off the stagecoach, he ends up running into Deputy Peck. Obviously, Pedro does what a parrot does, and he's parroting everything Peck says back to him. He keeps on copying everything he's saying. And this goes on for a little while until Peck finally catches up to it and begins to get annoyed. Now, while I completely understand why Peck would get annoyed at this, honestly, I think anybody would, it's what he does as a result of this that really, made me upset. So, after this goes on for a while, Peck does what Peck does best, and he puts Pedro in jail. And you see, this is where the miscommunication on Peck's part comes in, because when Callie tells Peck to go talk to Parenting Pedro about, like, how his copying him made him feel and all of that, he does go in there, to do that, but then he never actually gets to the point of doing that. He says a bunch of, like, different stuff, except, what he should be saying, which is, hey, you constantly copying everything I said, made me feel bad. It really hurt my feelings. I don't like that. Will you please stop? But no, he doesn't say that. And I hate the fact that it's Pedro who has to primarily learn a lesson in this episode, because it's like, all Pedro knows for a lot of this episode, like, for all that Pedro knows in this episode, it's like, he made a new friend, talked to said friend got angry with him, and then said friend arrested him, and started avoiding him, simply for talking. Poor Pedro didn't even know that there was a problem to begin with. Finally, moving on to reason 3, and the other episode that I was mentioning, the third reason why I do not really like Peck is because of the fact that he can pretty much commit crimes and basically get away with them. Like we see in season 1, episode 19, Here Comes the Sun. So in this episode, Peck and Toby are out camping with Sheriff Callie. And while Callie goes to sleep, Peck and Toby cannot go to sleep because they are up, being terrified of the nighttime noises that are happening around them. And so Peck decides to steal Sheriff Callie's lasso to rope up the sun. And while this does prove to be a success, they end up roping the sun too close to the earth, which causes a massive heat wave all over Nice and Friendly Corners that, let's be honest, could have killed somebody. They then decide to steal Sheriff Callie's lasso again in hopes to rope up the moon in hopes that it'll make it nighttime again. And so they steal her lasso, again, rope up the moon, but then the moon melts all over town. And it's still boiling hot outside. So they finally decide to tell Sheriff Callie what they did, thank God, and, give her back her lasso, and rightfully she is upset. But she doesn't punish them for this. Notably Peck, who was, like, the main one doing all of this. Like, the guy caused a massive heat wave. He stole her lasso twice. And he also melted a whole planet. Surely that's grounds for some kind of arrest. Alrighty, for now, that's really all the reasons I'm going to give. It is, as of making this video, 7 p.m. where I'm at. And it is getting late. And I really want to get this video out. So I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to my stupid rant. Yeah. As I said, thank you for taking time out of your day to come and listen to my rant, and I hope you like the other videos that I will post in the future too. Bye!